Hello and welcome to today's lesson. Today we are going to be covering lesson 4 in chapter 4, and it is the Congruence and Transformations lesson. So we're going to be talking about congruence here. So what we have recently been doing are transformations. So we've been doing the slide transformation, translation, we've been doing the turn, which is a rotation, and we have been doing the flip or the reflection. Now we had lots of different rules that we had in lessons 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3, and so you may want to make sure that you have those rules out and ready and being able to use. And also please make sure that you have a pencil and a ruler with you right now. So you need a blank sheet of paper, a ruler, and a pencil because we are going to be doing an investigation during this video, and so you're going to need to stop and pause as we are moving along here. All right, remember, congruent figures are the same shape and same size. So two geometric figures are congruent if and only if there is a rigid motion or a composition of rigid motions that maps one figure onto the other. So congruent figures, same shape, same size. And they are going to be congruent if and only if rigid motion that maps one onto the other. So these are all congruent because they're the same size and same shape, but when you look at the yellow, those are all different. They're all triangles, but they are not all the same size or shape, so they are not congruent. All right, in this figure, we've got 6 different figures, so which ones are congruent? So is 1 congruent to 3? And most of you are going to look at that and say no, because IH is 2, FE is 2, but IJ is 2, and GE is 3. So they are not the same. So which figures are congruent? And once you figure out which ones are congruent, describe the transformation. So make sure you stop and pause this video, write this down so that you guys have it and you're practicing it. So then when you're asked to recall this on a test or quiz, that you have been practicing this. So stop the video and do parts A and B. All right, now that you've done parts A and B, let's talk through what the solutions are here. So in here, figure 1 and figure 6, that is 180-degree rotation. Figure 3 to 4 is a reflection across the x-axis, and figure 2 to 5 is a translation of 2 units left. So we have to make sure that we're taking this point right here, and we're going 2 units left, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we get to this point. Bottom left goes to bottom left. All right, each of these terms are interchangeable: rigid motion, isometry, and the congruence transformation. So any of these could be used interchangeably within any of these lessons to mean the exact same thing. All right, let's describe this congruence transformation that maps parallelogram ABCD to parallelogram EFGH. Notice here, one of the big things that you have to do is map A, see how A is the first letter, to E, the first letter. So my initial thought, so stop this video, do this, and see what you come up with, and then resume it. My initial thought is to reflect this across the x-axis so that I would have A going here, B going here, C is going to be down here, and D is going to be down. Whoops, I went one too far. D is going to be here, and then slide it over. So I would have this is point A, and then point A, when I slide it over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'd have A go to G. Well, that is not correct because we need A to go to E. So if you were thinking about doing that, let's retrace our steps and redo this. So now if we try to do this another way and reflect A this way, so we go across the y-axis here, and now slide it down. So B would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So here's B, and C is 1. Whoops, I should probably mark that as a B. And then C is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is where C prime would be. D is at 1, 2, 1, 2. So here is D prime. So now we have this figure right here. Now, if we take A and translate down 1, 2, 3, 4, now did we get A on top of E, and we needed A to go to E. So I would say that this is going to reflect across the Y axis, and then I'm going to do a translation down. How much was that down? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Down 4 units. So make sure you reflect across the Y and then down. All right, here's where you need to stop the video and do everything that this is saying. So it's draw a scalene triangle. So I'm going to do this very quick just to give you what we're doing here. So this needs to be scalene. So I'm going to call this A, this B, this C. Draw a line K to reflect this across. So here's my line K to reflect this across. Then I'm going to actually do the reflection. So as I do the reflection, remember, however long this is, that's how long I have to go over here. So this is where A prime is going to be. And remember, this needs to be 90 degrees. So now C, however long that is, that's how long I'm going to have C prime. And then B, however long this is, that's how long I have. Now, this is not very accurate. That's why you guys are going to have a ruler to be able to do this. Okay, so then it says make a line parallel to M. All right, so parallel to M, I'm going to do parallel to M, and then I'm going to reflect across again. So if this is A, then I'm going to reflect A over here. If C is going to be, so this would be A double prime, C double prime, and then we're going to have B double prime. All right, so there's my reflections. Now, find the distance from A to A prime. So from A to A double prime, measure that distance, okay, and put that in here. You're going to be just doing it on your sheet of paper, obviously, and then find the distance between the two parallel lines. So then measure the distance between your two parallel lines. Remember, you're doing this to the best of your ability to make sure that these are 90 degrees. Then we have a discussion post going that I want you to post this data that you got, and then I want you to write a conjecture on the piece of paper that you are doing this, and then you need to submit this. So I have a place to submit that in Schoology for you. Okay, so do this investigation and then come back and we'll go through and find out what your findings are. Now, if you were in class and doing this when we did this, then you're done with this, but I still need you to post your stuff in your discussion for those of your classmates that did not make it into the Zoom that we were doing. Okay, so make sure you pause this, do this investigation, get on your post, come on back, and then you can continue on. All right, what kind of findings did you guys find in here? So this is a more accurate drawing here, and so I asked you to measure from A to A double prime. So let's just say you got from A to A double prime, and you measured that A to A double prime, and you got that to be 20 centimeters. Okay, then what I asked you to do was to measure from one parallel line to the other parallel lines. So what do you notice about the distance between the parallel lines? And wasn't that half of whatever that other part was? So if from A to A double prime was 20, then what would you expect my distance between my two parallel lines to be? Would be 10 centimeters. Okay, so if we got this to be 10 centimeters, then we're going to double it to find the distance between the primes. So even between B and B double prime, that's going to be the same distance as what A to A double prime is. So that is still going to be 20 inches. Oh, centimeters, I said. All right, let's look at an example here and see if you guys can figure this out. So in here, they're saying BD. Where is BD? Between the two parallel lines is 16. So if that is the case, what is the distance from G to G double prime? And yep, we're going to multiply that by 2, and we'd get 32. So now, what is the distance between A and C? Well, if BD is 16, what's A and C going to be? That is also going to be 16. And then from H to H double prime, again, that's going to be double what the parallel line was, so that's going to be 32. All right, I'm just going to do another sample problem here. And in here, let's say we're going to make HB. So from H to B is 6, and D to double prime, this is going to be 4. So can you tell me the distance from A to C? Can you tell me the distance from G to G double prime using that information? Well, you guys go ahead, pause this, and then come back so that you can do this and check this. So pause it, try it, and then see if you get the correct answers. All right, resuming this video, if we go from H to B is 6, well then B to H prime has to also be 6. And if H to the parallel line is 4, then this parallel line to H prime has to be 4. So now we can see from B to D is 10. Well, from A to C would be the same thing, so we're going to get 10. And then if we measure from G to G prime, double prime, sorry, G to G double prime, that's going to be double whatever this distance is in here. So we are going to get that to be 20. All right, one more thing we need to cover in this is if we are rotating over intersecting lines. So this one's a lot harder to have an investigation, so we're just going to talk through this one. So if we have a figure here, AB, and we're going to just make a line, K, and we're going to reflect that over that. Okay, then we make another line, and we're going to reflect this AB onto the green one. What we find out is that this angle in here, whatever angle we get right here, that the angle from the whole thing has that same kind of relationship. So that if just this angle in here is x, the whole big thing is going to be 2x. So let's say in here, we got this to be, 30 degrees. So in here, we get 30 degrees, then this whole thing right here is going to be double that, so that would be 60 degrees. Obviously, that's not accurate for this diagram, but that's what would happen with the math. Whatever we get between those two lines that we're reflecting across, from your figure all the way over to the double prime one is always going to be double. So let's look at this example here. They're telling us that we're going to reflect over line K and then line M. So the angle here is 70 degrees. So now if you take F to F prime, this angle right here, what is the measure of this angle going to be? And it's always going to be double whatever this is. So this whole angle in here is going to be 140 degrees. Okay. All right, so that is the big concept for today. All right, we should be at homework time. So make sure you get that investigation turned in, and good luck on your homework for lesson 4-4.